In this episode, cosmic synth rockers Jonas Reinhardt spur on their creative process by shooting guns and talking New Age with us.
I thought that, with Jonas Reinhardt, we could have a band that represented a style of electronic music and make it visually interesting and entertaining to see live, and something that'd be exciting, but drawing from the traditions of the lone man in the studio in the 70s or 80s or whatever it was. Everything from Michael Garrison to Klaus Schulze were big influences originally, but that over time has evolved to encompass everything from, Nigerian 70s funk to, minimal wave synth music from the early 80s. So we're starting to bring together a lot more influences than we started out with, which is a good thing.
What's a live show like? What's a Jonas Reinhardt live show like? Is it a bliss-out or is it a dance party?
Blissed-out dance party. Generally, we like to come out here as part of our creative process. We like to build up a communal experience, and that translates that into sound. And what ends up coming out the other side, I think, is something that is reflected in the music. I wouldn't say a team-building exercise. This is more part of the creative process, like I said. Collectively, we're representing Jonas Reinhardt here today. Phil Manley can't be with us, but we will continue in his stead. I think New Age music has gotten a bad reputation over time. It's been sort of corrupted by, I would say, commercial elements. With this most recent record, I think what we're trying to do is take maybe some elements of New Age, some elements of experimental music, some of the experimental rock, the backgrounds that we all come from, and try to create something new from that. And what we want to do is create music that's at times relaxing and somewhat peaceful, but also has a sense of urgency and something that's constantly evolving, constantly changing.
I think a lot of people think that krautrock is very cool, and I do too. I love krautrock. But I think it's also the birthplace of New Age. I think techno owes a lot to krautrock. Techno owes a lot to the early New Age producers as well. So I think people are now recognizing that 20 years ago, different people like Marauder and Tangerine Dream and stuff like that were using the same gear that they were using in the 90s and thinking like, oh, this is neat. I see now how this is done. And so it's almost like a roots music of sorts for a lot of stuff that's going on now.
Just got a studio recording session last week, and what we did there was tracked as much as we could as a live band, and then we'll let the digital editing process take over from there. But it's important that you start from a foundation of the interpersonal experience that you only get through a band situation. And what we wanted to do is capture the performances that we've had the last 6 months or so in the studio, take that and break it apart as needed, or leave it intact. But the digital editing software that's available, editing is as much part of the compositional process as the songwriting and the instrumentation, so we'd like to focus on that as well. With Jonas Reinhardt, there's a constant conversation going on between man and machines. It's sort of a concept, relatively old at this point, but I think what we were trying to do is find that balance between composition and improvisation in a way where the way that the songs work out is that they start somewhat as sound sculptures, where I'll maybe put together a basic rhythm track and some keyboard sequences and things like that, and then there's an evolution that takes place with the songs where the other instruments start to shape and push the direction in a certain way or another, and at the end of it what you have is what sounds like a very well thought out composition, which it is, but I think it's something that comes out of a more organic process of evolving over time. At the end of the day, you have the creative input of let's say 4 to 5 people. So what I've done, this most recent record has evolved from something that was a more singular vision into something that's more of a collective vision. And I think Jonas Reinhardt's at now, it's more of a collective experience. I think third grade nap time is what I can associate my early interest in synthesizer music to. I think I was somewhat inoculated as a kid to like have these quasi-meditative experiences in class where you're supposed to take a nap, but the teachers always put on these new age records that were really blissed out and peaceful. So I have sort of fond memories of that kind of calming experience, and I think that music has sort of always carried with me in a way.